Alexis Nunes alongside George Dobell once again getting ready for what promises to be another exciting test battle between England and the West Indies, this time at Old Trafford. So far, George, rain has been literally raining on our parade, but the talk of the morning is the breaking news that Jofra Archer will play no part in this test after breaching the rules of the biosecure bubble that, of course, both teams have been put in because of this coronavirus pandemic. Now, as you would know, I am quite close to Jofra Archer. I know him very well, and I did speak to him literally just a couple of minutes ago, and he's obviously very, very frustrated. Just to give a bit more context and details into exactly what went down, it was that he did start back at home in Brighton right before heading to Manchester from Southampton. And he did say, look, it was as simple, even though we realize there are no simple decisions nowadays because of this pandemic, but it was as simple as he stopped home for an hour, didn't high-five anyone, didn't go play golf, didn't go out for a meal or anything, went and put petrol in, and then went straight up to Manchester. And that pretty much was it. Now, it's important as well, George, just to note that he did not use this as an excuse. He does accept that it was a bad judgment call on his part now in the grand scheme of things, but this was probably just to give a little more understanding into his thought process going into this. He's a massive homebody. You know, we've all been asked to stay at home during this time. Home is really his safe place, and which is why he didn't think, you know, it was that much of a risk to go home for an hour or so. But obviously now he realizes that that wasn't the best call. But George, just what's your thoughts on all the reaction that, of course, he's getting from this news? And, you know, how can England really cope without him in this second test against the West Indies when they're looking to bounce back?
Well, he's made life very difficult for them. And he's let everyone down, including himself. But he has let everybody down. And the fact that there wasn't even a really pressing reason to do it, I'm afraid, makes it even less excusable in a way. Look, we're in extraordinary times. And this series is only taking place because the government has made exemptions to allow it to. There is no way around the fact that the ECB will be taking calls from the UK government today saying what's going on. They could cancel this series, and then where are we? Well, where are we? Is English cricket bankrupt? Because someone has decided that they needed to go home for an hour? Look, everyone in the squad, lots of them with young children, lots of them with families, has had to sacrifice something in these past few weeks. The West Indies squad in particular have been staying in hotels and observing all these protocols for quite a long time. And it is difficult, and we all appreciate and understand that. But, you know, that's what they've signed up to, and it is abundantly clear to everyone living this sort of weird half-life at the moment that there are hoops we have to jump through, and there are very good reasons why, because 50-odd thousand people have died in the UK. So there are no excuses, and I'm afraid he has to suck this up. He has to say sorry, and he has to live that by not making this sort of silly mistake again. Look, we know that there's nothing, you know, malevolent in there or something, but the fact is he has exposed everybody and the series to risk unnecessarily. And I'm afraid it's just immature and silly, and, you know, he has let everybody down. It's not the end of the world, you know. Hopefully he'll be back next week. In the short term, though, you know, every team with Jofra in it's a stronger team. England now go into this test without an outright pace bowler. That's a shame. It's a shame for him. It's a shame for them. It's a shame for everyone watching on TV. But I'm not going to make any excuses for him. It was a silly thing to do, and there is, you know, he cannot act like that again. It's very, very disappointing.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, he's definitely very frustrated from what I gathered that, you know, we speak for him. We do say that we are our worst critic, and I suppose that's exactly what he's feeling right now, because he realizes that that judgment call probably wasn't the right one given this time. But I mean, I've known Jofra for years now, and 99% of the time that we've hung out, it has been at home, because he's such a massive homebody. So that's, again...
But do you get the point about there are people with kids and families and what have you who have not been able to go and see them? And they may have driven within a few miles of the front door, and they've not been allowed to go and say hi. And you saw all the fuss in the Caribbean when Phil Simmons went to a family member's funeral. So, you know, it has all been made terribly clear to us what's going on. You know, he just shouldn't have done it. Whatever the circumstances, whatever the reasons, you just have to, I'm afraid, live in this bubble for a while. And it is annoying, and it is frustrating. You know, the rewards are pretty great as well. I think it's very disappointing, and as I say, I think he's let everyone down, and I thought his apology was good and really welcome and mature. And sometimes all you can do in these situations is say, sorry, hands up, I got it wrong, I won't do it again. And if he does that, great, then we all move forward without a problem, I reckon. He's a terrific cricketer, no one's doubting that. No one's saying there's a nasty bone in his body. But, you know, we are living through a pandemic. These are extraordinary circumstances. And it's a bit of a miracle that this series is happening. So let's make it happen. Let's make it safe. Let's do everything we got to do.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.